whom he loved in spite of all his eccentricities. He looked like any other lord beginning his day. Unlike any other lord, however, he believed his dead wife haunted the moors. The butler returned and set the plate heaped with eggs, ham, tomatoes, and toast in front of Locke. Before he could return to his station at the wall, Locke looked up at him. "Gilbert, did you assist my father in dressing this morning?" "Yes, my lord. As he is no valet, I was more than honoured to handle the duties." He leaned down and whispered, "He insisted upon bathing as well, my lord, and it's not even Saturday." He raised his white bushy eyebrows as though that was grand news indeed, then straightened his spine, seeming rather proud of the fact that he had bathed the marquess mid-week. "Do you know why he went to such a bother?" "Yes, my lord. He's getting married this afternoon. Mrs. Dorset is preparing the wedding feast as we speak, and Mrs. Barnaby was up early cleaning the front parlour, since the vows are to be exchanged there. It's a splendid day indeed to once again have a lady taking up residence within Havisham." Only there was no lady, except in his father's twisted and demented mind. "Has she a name?" "I'm rather certain she does, my lord. Most do." Locke had long ago learned that patience was required when dealing with the few staff members who had remained through the years. Positions were never replaced with newcomers, but as deaths or retirements occurred, so others had moved up in rank. Nevertheless, perhaps it was time to consider hiring a younger butler, except it was difficult to envision Havisham Hall without Gilbert at the helm. He'd been the under-butler before taking over when the previous butler passed in his sleep nearly 20 years ago. Besides, few were better suited to working with and accepting the strangeness that went on within these walls. "Would you happen to know what that is?" "Madeline Connor, perhaps. My mother." "If you want to know about my bride," his father snapped, folding up his newspaper and slapping it down on the table, "why don't you ask me? I'm sitting right here." Because he didn't relish the sorrow that would overtake his father when he realized the truth of the matter. His bride had been gone for 30 years now. She'd perished the night she'd fought so valiantly to bring his only child into the world. "When does she arrive?" he asked indulgently, out of the corner of his eye, watching Gilbert retreat to his corner. "Around 2. The wedding will take place at 4. He lifted his hand, wiggled his gnarled fingers. "I wanted to give her a bit of time to get to know me." Odd, that. His parents had met as children, fancied each other from the start, at least according to his father. He arched a brow. "So, you don't know her?" He lifted a slender shoulder. "We've corresponded." It occurred to Locke there could be something remarkably more upsetting than his father believing he was residing 30-odd years in the past, and on the cusp of marrying Locke's mother. "Pray, tell, what is her name?" "Mrs. Portia Gadstone." Locke couldn't help but stare. This development was worse, far worse than he'd anticipated. "A widow, I presume?" "No, Locke. I'm taking to wife a woman who already has a husband. Think, boy, of course she's a widow. I don't have time for skittish girls who require patience and educating. I want a woman who knows her way well around a man's body." He could scarce believe that he was having this ridiculous conversation with his father. "If sexual gratification is what you're seeking, I can bring you a woman from the village. Why go to all the bother of marriage?" "I need an heir." Although it was unseemly for a lord to drop his jaw, Locke did so anyway. "I'm your heir." "With no plans to marry." "I never claimed I wouldn't marry." He insisted he would never love. Knowing his father had descended into lunacy after losing the love of his life, he had no desire whatsoever to give any woman his heart and risk travelling the same path.